Python supports different data types like numbers, string, list, tuple, set and dictionary. We shall start with that numbers over here. Number, it supports integer, long integers and floating point values and complex. Long integers are deprecated and not available in 3.x Python version. And we have an integer. It will be considered like all the integers or signed integer. There is no unsigned integer or unsigned character handling. Unsigned handling is not present in Python. All the integers will be considered like signed integers, and it has the float which provides to feed floating point values, and it also supports complex variables to feed the complex variables which is needed for scientific applications. Now I am going to declare a variable a equals 20, and it got assigned, and the variable type is automatically deducted like an integer based on its content. I am going to declare a variable b with 30.45 which provides floating point variable got created b with the depends upon the input value to it, and I am going to create a complex variable c equals 3 plus 5j. It got created like a complex variable. We are setting that value as a complex value. Then that particular variable is automatically created like a very complex variable data type. It got created. If suppose we are copying a value to another variable, the another variable also will be get created, whichever be the value we are copying. For example, I am going to d equals c, then variable d got created as a complex variable with content copied from c. If suppose we are changing that the variable d with the value of a, then the variable d has been changed like an integer, and the variable a value get copied to the d basically over here. And we have the option something like if suppose we wanted to convert from one format to another format, we can use the format something like a integer of a provides integer output, and we can use integer of b, which b is an floating point which provides the output value of integer. B is 30.45 and integer value is 30, and int of b provides output of 30. If suppose I am going to use integer of c is an complex variable 3 plus 5j, and we cannot convert that complex variable into the integer variable. We can convert that integer to float and float to integer, that we can able to convert. The complex to integer variable cannot be converted, and we can use something like a creation of complex variable. For example, real equals 40 and imaginary equals 50, and complex variable comp equals complex of real comma img over here. Now we can see the complex comp variable information, which is 40 plus 50j. The complex member function which receives the real component and imaginary component and creates the complex variable accordingly. The real component is 40 and the imaginary component is 50, 40 plus 50, like that we got. And if suppose we wanted to create another one, complex variable, complex of something like a real, it should contain only real, there is no imaginary component, then we can give only real over here, at which has something like a C1, which is 40 is the real component and 0 is the imaginary component that we can able to use it. And in case if suppose we have an integer variable a equals 40, we can use an function float of a, which converts that integer into the floating point and provides the output. It's 40.0 is the floating point output that we got when we convert into the integer. This is something like we have an 3 number types. One is an integer which supports only a signed integer, there is no support of unsigned integers. And then we have the floating point values that can be converted into the integer can be converted into the floating point values. And we have another data type, the complex variable data types, that can be used for scientific applications, that we can able to create the complex variables by giving directly 3 plus 5j like that, or we can create and use that function called complex with the real and imaginary part, then it will create a complex number accordingly. And we can have something like the complex number cannot be converted to integer, the complex number has to be handled in a separate manner for scientific applications.